The Realty Debate with Manisha Natarajan, powered by Reliance Home Finance.
Abandoned project sites, missing developers and hollow promises have finally made this summer a summer of rage for the home buyer who's run out of patience, and Twitter has become abuzz with cries of frustration and demand for justice. So let's explore today. If you're a buyer stuck with a delayed project, how can you make the wheels of justice move for you? We've got with us today Dhanendra Kumar, former Chairman, Competition Commission of India, CCI, Prashant Solomon, MD Chintals India and Treasurer of CREDAI NCR. Today he will be the voice of CREDAI NCR. Uday Vavekar, Senior Property Lawyer and also a gentleman who's fought for his rights and won some justice. Ajay Kumar, flat buyer, recently filed a case and won against JP Calypso Court in the National Consumer Redressal Forum. Let me just, deep dive into the subject and first ask Mr. Dhanendra Kumar, sir, tell me, should the buyer wait out for the real estate regulator to come into place at the state level, because it has been notified now on 1st May, or should they hit the courts? What is the route that they should take?
You are absolutely right. There is so much trust deficit between the buyers and the developers built up and accumulated over the years when the developers have not really delivered on their promises. Not only their promises about the delivery of flats, but also, to give you a very, very simple example, the sample flat they show to the prospective buyer and the one which they deliver, they are completely different. The quality of the product they deliver is nowhere near what they had promised, and they sit over the money and whatever else. In the case of DLF, the Competition Commission of India, they could impose fines and deliver some order because they held them to be dominant in a particular area. But in a similar situation with the same kind of flaws, in other cases, Competition Commission of India can't do anything because under the Act, they have to be proved to be dominant. So right now they have to go to the consumer courts, and the National Consumer Redressal Forum has really done a yeoman's job in the recent case against the JP builders, when on a petition from the home buyers, they have delivered a very nice judgment, and the buyers are hopeful of getting some relief now, when ultimately one doesn't know. But at least there is a ray of hope.
There's a ray of hope.
There is a ray of hope. So there is a forum now which people can go. But let me just take a minute or two here. I think the system needs to be improved further. The government has passed the Real Estate Regulator Act. The RERA, they have to be established, but the states have to do it.
Absolutely.
And one doesn't know how long it's going to take time. In the meanwhile, what can be done? Now, I've got two suggestions here. One, that the state governments, whichever are the licensing authorities...
Sir, will you just hold on? Let me come back to you for the solutions.
Right.
I think the first thing you said, which was that there's a huge crisis of trust. It's not only delayed projects. The rules are changed. The product is shoddy, construction quality is shoddy, people are charged for, plans are changed at the whims and fancies of a developer, common areas are swallowed up, so there's a long list. Let me come to Ajay Kumar. Ajay Kumar, you said that you won a case against JP Calypso Court in NCDRC. What are the options? I mean, why did you go to the court? Did you approach JP at all? Did you hope that you would get some response from the developer itself?
Yes. JP launched Wistown in 2007 and they promised they will deliver in 3 years.
So that was 2010, let's take 2011. And today we are sitting in 2016.
Yeah, 2016. What we met them in groups, and we also, they did not give us any concrete reply or they did not fulfill any our needs. So we gone for society formation. Then we registered the society with the name of DTPOWS, Developers Township Property Owner Welfare Society, which was formed. And then we met them and tried to discuss with them, give us the home fast possession dates, what are the possession dates. They always used to change the possession dates, postpone it. So we then, after so much of efforts, we could not get anything. Then we gone for NCDRC case, and it was...
And how long did you take, sir, to win that case in NCDRC?
It took 5 months only.
Wow.
Won the case.
So 5 months. So
5 months.
So okay, let me get to Prashant Solomon. Prashant Solomon, you're hearing this entire discussion and debate. I will go to Mr. Vavekar because he really has a complete lowdown on what happens in consumer courts. But is it clear that, I mean, you can't wait for justice anymore? Consumer court is the first place a buyer should be hitting rather than going to a developer and trying to resolve his problems, because that's not going to help.
See, Manisha, first of all, I want to say that I absolutely understand what home buyers are going through, because I know that buying a home is one of the largest investments that any individual can do, and it is entrusting a developer with perhaps maybe your life savings. So the first thing I'd like to say is that right now I'm in a body known as CREDI, and in CREDI we are very aware of this grievance that people are facing, and we are trying our best to solve that. We have a consumer grievance redressal forum, and I'm happy to tell you that in the last 2 years, out of 2,617 cases that came to the forum, 2,247 cases have been resolved amicably. That is a very good success rate. That is 86%. So firstly, I would say that that is a positive move, that as the real estate developers fraternity, people who believe that business needs to be done fairly and transparently, we are now moving in that direction. And as you can, you can talk to the people whose cases have been resolved. They're pretty satisfied. Yes, all cases have not been resolved. In some cases, people have resorted to going for litigation.
Okay, but my question to you, Prashant Solomon, is that RERA will take time. I mean, I don't see any urgency either. The maximum distress is in NCR, and neither Haryana nor UP government is in any hurry to, get RERA going. So do you think that if CREDI is unable to resolve the problem, there's no point in waiting for justice? Might as well hit the courts?
Well, if a person has not gotten any sort of justice or any kind of agreement by going through the grievance forum, then by all means one can go to the court.
Now, Uday Vavekar, how many cases are you fighting for consumers in consumer court in real estate? Let me get the number out first. One lawyer in the country.
If you are talking of real estate, Manisha, they are the highest with me. In terms of, I have total cases of around 3,000 to 5,000 cases online, but out of the 3,000 cases, there are about 2,500 cases which will be against the developers by various either societies.
This is the proportion. Even in consumer courts, the highest proportion or highest number of cases are just one industry, real estate buyers against the developer. So there's something terribly wrong which needs to be fixed. Uday Vavekar, why not a regular court and why a consumer court, and take us very quickly through the 3 levels of consumer court and why it's so easy for a person to get justice there?
Manisha, excellent question. Consumer courts are, because first they are consumer friendly, second they are much faster comparative to other remedies of the law. You go to the high court, expenses are more, number of years are also much more, and it does not become affordable. City civil court also takes a lot of time, and there are rigorous procedures. Consumer Protection Act is a consumer friendly act, one. Second is, in the Consumer Protection Act, within 4 years you get your case resolved on an average, I am talking today, depending on the courts and infrastructure. Here you have a case within 5 months. That can also happen if it is an ex parte and a builder does not come. But what is most important in consumer is there is a right of interim relief, and if the interim orders or the final orders of the consumer courts are not complied with, then there is a procedure of criminal proceedings in consumer court under section 27, where a builder can go for rigorous imprisonment for 3 years, and there is a bailable warrant, non-bailable warrant if he doesn't present himself before the court. There is another proceeding called attachment proceedings, which is under section 25 for monetary orders, and where builder's personal property can be attached by collector, auctioned by the collector, and monies can be given to the consumer.
Okay, Uday Vavekar, my question to you is that even after NCDRC, there is still a developer who goes to the Supreme Court. Now, how long does that process take? So there's, I mean, it is still not the final word, isn't it?
Yes, you are right, but as far as Supreme Court is concerned, look, Supreme Court looks into only law point. And generally it is first or second hearing the final decision comes out. I have seen very rarely a case admitted and getting prolonged unless there are multiple cases and cause goes before the larger bench. Then it takes time, 1-2 years or whatever years when the larger bench sits. Otherwise, Supreme Court generally, and I emphasize, generally do not interfere with the judgments of the consumer courts unless it is absolutely perverse or there is a basic law point.
Okay, so let me just very quickly sum it up because this is very important. So I'm going to say, how can you approach the district forum? What is the procedure? It can be made on a plain paper with the necessary particulars, and this is Mr. Vavekar has helped us put this together as well. You can file a petition in person or by an authorized agent, which is of course a lawyer, after it has been notarized through registered post or regular post. It is important that you serve a personal or a legal notice to the opposite party before filing the complaint. And look at this animated graphics. It's very simply telling you step by step what you need to do. You require 4 copies plus additional copies for each opposite party. There is some limitation. Complaint must be filed within 2 years from the date of cause of action having arisen. And the monetary jurisdiction of a district court is only up to 20 lakh rupees. The court fee can go up to rupees 1 lakh, though nil for those below the poverty line holding Antodaya or Anna Yojana cards. Now, this is really, most of the home buyers stuck today probably are stuck in houses which cost more than 20 lakh rupees. So, where do you go? You approach the state level forum. The procedure here is cases where the value of the goods is between 20 lakhs to 1 crore. So that's when you go beyond district forum and you actually go to a state forum. Again, you need some documents which are flashing on your screen, but it's very, very simple. Now, how to approach a National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission? The procedure is to file a complaint at the NCDRC as at State Commission. And here the complaint can be filed directly or appeal against decision of the State Commission within a month from the date of the order. The court fee is just 5,000 and the demand draft should be in the name of the registrar. Ajay, I'm going to ask you, before I go to Mr. Dhanendra Kumar, I'm going to ask you, did you go through the district and the state forums or you went straight to national forum?
No, actually we formed a society and we clubbed 10 buyers in one group.
So your value of goods became more than 1 crore?
1 crore.
Okay, so together, if we are saying that if individually as a buyer, your home does not add up to 1 crore, then you need to come together with a couple of more buyers and then go above 1 crore, right?
Yes, right.
Okay. Uday Vavekar, very quickly, what would you recommend? A person goes individually to a state or a district forum, or do you think they should get together and go to the national forum?
It depends on what you exactly want. I would only add one thing, Manisha, you are correct on procedure, but in Maharashtra now online filing has started by Consumer Connect.
Oh, absolutely.
And consumer can sit at home and file it. And that's a user-friendly formula. We are requesting National Commission to allow this kind of agencies, and that is being worked out. But Maharashtra, it is really started functioning at the State Commission. We are awaiting government approval, so that will be at forums. Now coming back to your question, that as far as individual cases are concerned, one has to see the logistics. If it is difficult to go to Delhi, then if your case is below 1 crore, you can go before State Commission, file individual case. Above 1 crore, you have to file National Commission, there is no option. But if you want to join as a group and want a class action petition, then I would prefer one complaint for 10 consumers or 15 consumers can be filed in the National Commission.
Mr. Dhanendra Kumar, I know I stopped you midway when you were saying that you've got some suggestions. You've heard the entire argument on consumer court. What more can be done, sir?
First of all, I feel that the state governments owe it to their people that since they are the licensing authority for the developers, that in the terms of licenses, some kind of a model agreement between the developer and the buyer is also attached, that you would follow the standard model.
Absolutely. Even before giving an approval for the project, this can be done, isn't it?
Yeah. Otherwise, what happens that the developer unilaterally develops something and that is heavily loaded in favor of the developer. It's done in fine print. The buyer doesn't even read it.
Right.
And then he just signs it, and at the end, he's landed up with that situation. Secondly, they can also streamline their approval procedures so that the developers' problems can also be somewhat streamlined.
Absolutely.
And I was chairman of a committee to suggest streamlining of approval procedures for the developer community. And there are a lot of areas where the governments, both central in certain areas, but more so the state governments, can streamline their approvals procedure. There could be deemed approval. There could be many areas where approvals can be easily granted by defining gray areas and red areas and whatever it is. So it has to be done on both sides. Then also I feel that the communities like the CREDAI and NAREDECO, their associations, they have to be a little more assertive. Right now they don't have any teeth. I am sorry to say this. At the most, now they have started expelling their members. Earlier I know that their grievance cell also was very ineffective, but they have to have an effective grievance redressal system, and there should be a premium on being a member. If they throw out somebody that you are no longer a member and they put out their names like a rogues gallery and so on, so what? So,
okay.
So they
Are you going to have a rogues gallery? Prashant, you have expelled members. Are you going to put the names up on the list? The list up on CREDAI website?
Yes, we are going to put the names. The 32 members have been suspended / terminated, and those names will be published on the CREDAI NCR website.
Okay. Yeah. What do you respond to this suggestion by Mr. Dhanendra Kumar? It's a simple one, and you're in the business as well, that where the buyer-seller agreement is so stacked or is so one-sided, CCI has come out with a model agreement. Would CREDAI make that a norm rather than an exception? Why doesn't CREDAI adopt it?
Well, firstly, in terms of the model agreement, I think that's something that we are open to. But obviously, we would have to sit across the table with the various parties and try to draft some kind of a model agreement. CREDAI does have a code of conduct which all its members do have to sign, and I welcome anyone to go to the CREDAI NCR website and take a look at the code of conduct. In fact, there are many points there which are very similar to what has been kind of recommended in this RERA. So please visit the CREDAI NCR website, take a look at our code of conduct.
Surprisingly though, RERA is very quiet on the buyer-seller agreement, isn't it? Am I wrong, Mr. Dhanendra Kumar? It's really not said much about it.
Well, let me put it this way. RERA is an enabling provision to set up the regulatory body. Now they are to develop their systems and procedures. There is a term called contra proferentum, which I also mentioned last time, that anybody who writes the agreement or something like this, normally the presumption would be against him if it is a unilateral, unless both the sides have sat together and developed it. It's a unilateral one, so the presumption would be different. Now you mentioned about CREDAI. I mean, with due respect to CREDAI or whatever, let me give a small suggestion. Every developer, almost every developer, develops some kind of a sample flat which is supposed to be so attractive, they advertise it. They put in front page advertisements that this is going to be the shape of things. And when they deliver the project, then the state of the flat they deliver, is it comparable to what they, I mean, you show a product and you deliver a different product. It's a criminal offense. It's cheating.
I fully agree, and I say that a developer should make a sample flat exactly the way the final product will be made. However, there is one slight caveat to that, because now in a sample flat, the complete layout and everything should be the same. Of course, things like furnishing, things like putting paintings and making it look beautiful, that is something that needs to be done from a marketing point of view, but there must be a disclaimer.
Structurally should be the same.
Structurally, sir, I 101% agree with you. Okay. That it should be exactly the way the final product is.
You know something, gentlemen, I'm going to wrap out here because we've really covered all the points. One point, please don't wait for RERA. I think most panelists agree that consumer courts are your best option. We've got a good case study in Ajay and his team who actually found a society, but some very, very good suggestions coming from Mr. Dhanendra Kumar saying that, the model buyer-seller agreement, nobody is stopping, even before RERA states can actually implement it. And another point that he's pointed out, we keep bashing the developer, but it takes two to tango. And there are approval authorities, which Mr. Kumar has highlighted, which are also responsible for this mess and delay in project delivery. So that also needs to be taken care of. Maharashtra has made the beginning. There is now an online approval process. There's been directive from the Housing Ministry that online processes should be simplified. The approval processes should be simplified. Environment Ministry has said, look, don't have to send the approval files to me anymore at the center. So a lot of it is falling into place. And the only reason why it's now everybody's waking up and some amount of movements happening. CREDA is also taking strong action because the buyers have disappeared. And I think that's the only way for the industry to clean up, that the buyers, if they need to come back, well, you need to restore that trust which has gone missing. Whether it takes courts or it takes RERA, but the buyers must get justice. I'm going to sign off on that note. Thank you so much for joining me and goodbye.